afternoon, everybody. It's a really great honour to be here with you in Dubai, probably touching on a subject that I think will really shape many of the things that we think about and very much the future as we see it, this so-called fourth industrial revolution. I think let's stand back. Look, today's great trends of rapid urbanisation, climate change, resource scarcity probably weigh heavier on our cities and built places than ever before. New business models and practices are going to reshape our professions, and once again emerging technologies will disrupt and reshape our industry. The built environment, which touches every person, nation and business, is probably on the cusp of significant change. And I think all of us in this room, those in the industry, are really part of shaping that change for the better. So during this presentation, I'm going to be considering the fourth industrial revolution and the paradigm shift that I think that brings for people, places and practices around the world. So let me start with perhaps the obvious question. What is this fourth industrial revolution? How are we all seeing it? Well, the fourth industrial revolution isn't one we can see. We can't see, as we did before, and point to the new steam-powered trains, cars or computers. Instead, it's all about applying technologies such as artificial intelligence, big data, and the Internet of Things to the physical and the biological world. It's about creating cyber-physical systems which augment human intelligence and experience. This new approach to technology is already changing how we create and run our cities. It's because of this, because of how we do business, how we live, how we will buy things, that this is transforming beyond all recognition. In Britain today, doctors are diagnosing patients in their own homes or in their workplace via an app. It's now possible to order the majority of your household essentials on Amazon straight to your door. 20% of the world now shop online. And tech companies like WeWork, Airbnb and Uber are nudging urban populations increasingly towards the sharing economy. Yet the challenges our cities face are just as great. To quote Toronto's Chief Resilience Officer, our cities are becoming hotter and wilder. California's forests are burning faster than ever. Cape Town's reservoirs are close to running dry. And thanks to more hurricanes like Florence and Sandy, to quote a certain and very popular world leader, it's going to be tremendously wet. But the technological innovation comes at a human cost too, and a human cost of change. Prior to this role, I used to be Chief Marketing Officer of one of the world's largest insurance companies, Prudential. In the 1990s in the UK, we had 9,000 salespeople who would visit people's homes. By the year 2000, that sales force had reduced to zero as the telephone and then the internet channels gave customers what they really wanted at the pace that they wanted it. We have better public health and trade thanks very much to booming populations, which are driving this industrial revolution. Thanks to better access to basic medication, the global poor are even finding the strength to step out of the shadow of their past. Thanks to globalization, city doors have flown open to investment. As a result, 50% now of all real estate transactions are international. This investment has created jobs and opportunity which have strengthened further our city's gravitational pull to businesses and people. These improvements perhaps are more profound in cities. 50 of the world's biggest urban areas contain 7% of the world's population and account for 40% of the world's output. But the increased longevity of life and willingness to stay in cities is making most urban places a lot busier. Dubai's population is set to double by 2027. Toronto grows by 100,000 a year, and by 2030, a speeding birth rate will push London's population beyond 10 million. Against the vast timeline of human history, suddenly more people have more money. But in the same instant, less time and fewer natural resources to capitalise on that growth. Yet deep down, we all know it isn't money which really makes us happy. In 1932, researchers from Harvard University thought the same, and they started to track health of Boston residents in 1938 during the Great Depression. They hoped the longitudinal study would reveal clues to leading happy and healthy lives. For 75 years this study's been going. The researchers have collected an incredible treasure chest of data on participants and their children's physical and mental health. So more than riches, fame or selfies, the study found that participants' close relationships with family and friends had the most powerful influence on what kept them happy throughout their lives. The key point here is that happiness and the happiness of our people must be our driving focus as we prepare and respond to the global march on our cities around the world. Our task, I think, is clear. This industry must switch its focus towards creating places and nurturing environments in which human relationships can flourish. But how? Our cities will certainly compete for the happiness advantage in the future. So the global urban growth presents a hugely technical problem for many city leaders to ensure people are housed in them, fed and safe. But the private sector can't wait for governments to tell us how to solve all the problems in our cities. Working collaboratively and using the digital tools available to us, it should be us in the industry that leads the change. In 2016, John Tory, the Mayor of the City of Toronto, told RICS's Well-Built Environment Forum that city leaders are looking to the built environment industry, all of us in here, to solve the existential problems facing them. For too long, the built environment industry has failed to innovate. Among other consequences, this failure has fueled an affordability crisis in many cities around the world. New entrants, though, from the tech sector want to help cities solve this problem. Huge corporates such as Google are creating new companies which bridge the digital and physical worlds. Google's new urban development project in Toronto seeks to define urban design and new digital technology with the objective of achieving unprecedented levels of sustainability, affordability, mobility and economic opportunity. We will see more of this. Amazon recently announced a move into construction in a bid to own the home experience of the customer. But it's not all easy and plain sailing. For instance, Toronto's residents are worried about how the private data generated by the Google Digital Neighbourhood will be collected and managed. Who should have responsibility for assuring it is safe? The city or the data company? What implications does its collection have for our privacy? Ultimately, who can be trusted to handle data? This is a snapshot of how our transforming world is also making people more suspicious. Increasingly, more and more people want companies and business to make money, but to operate with a purpose. Accordingly, this year's Edelman Trust Barometer, the world's institutions are all now fighting for a battle for truth. And let's face it, trust is at the heart of professions. It's probably the most important asset that we have, but consumers are increasingly unwilling to believe information, even from those closest to them. This trust tsunami has shaken the moorings of institutions, which has already been dangerously undermined by 3 previous waves. These were fear of job losses due to globalization and automation, the Great Recession, and the effects of massive global migration. The loss of confidence in information channels and sources, so-called fake news, is the fourth wave of this storm of distrust. And it continues to batter institutions and their mandate to govern and run our cities of the world. Our cities cannot afford this lack of trust to delay the building of new houses, infrastructure, developing new land, adapting to climate change. Together, the built environment has to come together and rebuild that lost trust and do it fast. In a world that's increasingly untrusting, it's reassuring that professionalism and ethics are viewed by the market as being more important than ever. One of the very last self-regulating professions, RICS, operate in the real estate, land, construction and infrastructure sectors. RICS offers a unique value proposition to the market. It's because of this we remain vigilant in making sure RICS qualified professionals continue to live to the highest standards of practice, ethics and conduct. Not only does this demonstrate to the market our professionals' credentials, but by doing so it protects and increases the value of their qualification. Increasingly, key organisations from Hong Kong to Hamburg, from Canada to China know, respect and value RICS qualifications and the standards we help develop and enforce, which improve the very nature of how markets function. This need for enhanced trust in the built environment is a key reason why RICS established our Well Built Environment Forum, a place where leaguers could come together, share ideas and develop new solutions for the future. The internet has transformed at an incredible speed the way people interact with one another around the world. Since 1988, when the first intercontinental fibre optic cables were installed, the number of users connected through this infrastructure has grown more than sevenfold. In 2000, it was 400 million. In 2005, it's 1 billion. And by 2015, it had reached 3 billion. This acceleration of connectivity has created an enormous volume of data, and we're collecting more of it than at any time in history. But only a few years ago, there was simply too much data to even make sense of it. Yet today, using big data, machine learning, the built environment is learning how to mine vast amounts of data to solve problems just unimagined 25 years ago. This pace of digitalisation is injecting new life into the veins of the built world. It is making previously dumb objects smart. Data is awakening once analogue bricks and mortar. Today, many elements that influence how we construct and manage our cities are being cognified. The future of real estate is set to shift from the value of the building and its location to the social and community benefits and outcomes. Real estate currently focuses on the efficiency of the building. Technology will shift the focus to people and their productivity. So to survive the fourth industrial revolution, professionals must change by learning new skills, adapting their business models to reflect the rapidly evolving marketplace. To help us understand how the market is reshaping built environment professionals, we are, as a profession, conducting a global study into how professionals of the future will need to embrace technology to push the built environment forward. That studies will be produced at the end of November. You're very welcome to go onto our website, rics.org, and get the findings. The construction industry has often been criticised for its failure to innovate, which has contributed to Japan's construction industry using robots to raise productivity levels in their construction. Off-site manufacturing of new homes is becoming increasingly common. In Sweden now, 8 out of 10 detached houses are already built using prefabricated timber. Without exception, routine processes carried out by professionals in our industry, such as modelling and valuation, will be dealt with by black box technology solutions. It's the role of the professionals to help develop these. Understandably, many worry that artificial intelligence will quickly come to dominate the economy and make professionals redundant. It will undoubtedly have enormous implications and will certainly define professions as we know them. But we shouldn't be overly alarmist. As with previous technological advances, we will integrate AI into our business and into our investment models. Professionals won't become superfluous, but they will be relieved of the repetitive tasks, enable them to focus on the things that really improve cities and the environment for people. I believe professionals are going to work alongside AI to solve many of the world's intractable problems. Fundamentally, this technology is going to empower the built environment industry to shift its focus from being process to outcome driven. Artificial intelligence, for instance, could help us perfect the sharing economy, eradicate construction waste. And it could help us harness the full potential of energy storage tech, which will revolutionize energy generation and distribution. It will even help us perfect the management of carbon-positive buildings and infrastructure. Buildings will literally come alive with artificial intelligence. But AI's gift will be to free us humans of repetitive processes and acts. And this freedom will empower us to innovate and reshape the future of the built environment. Let's consider another example of using tech to create solutions. Until now, the MENA economy has relied heavily on hydrocarbons. Thanks to the fall in oil price and mounting pressure to wean cities and industry off fossil fuels, MENA governments are now diversifying away from these highly liquid industries. Cities across the GCC are responding by repositioning themselves as destination city, great hubs to conduct business and for tourists to explore Middle Eastern culture. This is driving the need for maturing, evolving and innovative real estate markets in these rapidly changing and growing cities. While still in its infancy, blockchain technologies could help in increasing the liquidity of real estate assets. For example, the transactional history of a piece of real estate could be recorded on a distributed ledger, verified by others in the network as a legitimate transaction, and converted into a securitized token that could be traded at the market set price. Similar, if you like, to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Benefits of this tokenization process would include increased liquidity and transparency, enhanced security, and simplified management. So while the fourth industrial revolution sounds exciting, advances in AI, blockchain, and other technologies will enhance the built environment, but they're only the tools to do that. What we need is to value the professionals and how much they will be able to use these tools as masters and agents of change to shape the world we live in and build the future cities around our people and their happiness. So as urbanisation continues to draw more people to our cities, our ability to provide those basic needs of health, shelter and safety will rely on us to collaborate, be trusted and remain relevant. It is these foundations which we, the built environment, must create. Homes for people, prosperity for business, and hand those who live in our cities a stake in their own future. I hope you'll join me to explore these issues further as part of our World Built Environment Forum. We'll be working together to get all of those things right with leading experts across the world. Doing so, I believe, won't only make our industry more successful and innovative, but will help our cities reach the true holy grail, human happiness. As I finish, I'll encourage you to follow RICS News on Twitter to find out more about our work to prepare the built environment and the profession for the fourth industrial revolution. Thank you very much.